8 seconds, that's all it takes to decide who you're going to be. 8 seconds to shift from hesitation to hunger. 8 seconds to say, I've had enough. That's the power of a decision. It doesn't take time, it takes commitment. Most people wait for a sign, for the perfect moment, for someone to tell them it's okay to start, but life doesn't wait. Opportunity doesn't wait. The clock doesn't stop because you're scared. Every second you spend waiting is a second you'll never get back. Decisions are the true turning points of life, not the ideas, not the dreams, not the plans. It's the moment you finally decide this is it. I'm done living small. Everything changes in that instant. Because decision is the ultimate power. It's not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. It's not about where you come from, it's about where you decide to go next. People say, but Tony, I don't know what to do. You don't need to know the whole path, you just need to take the first step. Life meets you halfway when you move. Momentum is born from movement, not from thinking. The problem is, most people live in a pattern of hesitation. They overthink, they analyze, they procrastinate until their dreams rot in the basement of their excuses. You know what that's called, death by indecision, and here's the truth. Every decision you don't make is still a decision to stay the same, a decision to accept less, a decision to live in fear. You're deciding every day, you're just not conscious of it. The moment you take back that power, everything begins to shift, because life isn't waiting for you to be perfect, it's waiting for you to choose. So this is your moment, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. The greatest lie you've ever been told is that you need to feel ready to move. You don't. You need to move to feel ready. You need to decide that from this moment forward, your life will not be ruled by hesitation, but by decision, because one powerful decision made with clarity, made with courage, can redirect the entire course of your destiny. And that's where the journey begins, not in comfort, but in choice. Most people spend their lives waiting for the right time, waiting for motivation, waiting for the fear to fade, for the pain to stop, for life to somehow get easier. But here's the truth, waiting is the slowest form of death. It looks peaceful, but it kills you quietly, one unrealized dream at a time. The illusion of waiting is seductive. It whispers, be patient, it'll happen when it's meant to. But destiny doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who move, even when they're terrified. Waiting feels safe because it's familiar. It gives us an excuse to stay in the same place while pretending we're still progressing. We say we're preparing, when what we're really doing is avoiding. Avoiding failure, avoiding judgment, avoiding discomfort. But growth doesn't happen in safety, it happens in the stretch. The moment you decide to stop waiting for the perfect circumstances and start creating them, that's when your life begins to shift. The truth is, no moment will ever feel like the right time. You'll never have enough money, enough confidence, enough certainty. The people who change the world, the ones who build, lead, and transform, they don't wait for readiness. They act, and readiness follows. Decision first, clarity second. You act your way into certainty. You don't think your way there. Every second of waiting is a trade. You trade your potential for comfort, your progress for procrastination, your fire for fear. You say to the universe, I want change, but your actions whisper, I'm not ready. And the universe listens to your actions, not your words. You've got to wake up to the cost of waiting. You've got to feel that truth in your bones, that the longer you hesitate, the heavier your dreams become. They don't disappear. They weigh you down. They drain your energy, your focus, your spirit. That's why you feel stuck, because you're carrying all the decisions you didn't make. So what if you stopped waiting today? What if you took one bold, imperfect action right now? That's where power is found, not in time, but in movement. Because waiting for the perfect moment is how average people live, deciding to move anyway. That's how extraordinary lives begin. Next comes the real test, the resistance that shows up the moment you move. The moment you decide to move, resistance shows up. It's not bad luck. It's not the universe testing you. It's life revealing what still controls you. Resistance isn't outside you, it's inside. It's that voice that whispers, who do you think you are? It's the pull to go back to comfort, to the familiar. It's fear disguised as logic, self. Doubt dressed up as practicality. Understand this. Resistance will always meet you the moment you decide to grow. It's the natural friction between who you are and who you're becoming. You can't evolve without it. You can't expand without pressure. That's why most people never experience transformation the second resistance shows up. They interpret it as a sign to stop instead of a sign to rise. When you decide to change, the mind will fight to protect its old identity. It will bring up every excuse, every justification, every story about why now isn't the time, why you're not ready, why it's safer to wait. But that's the trap. The brain's number one job is survival, not success. Your soul wants growth. Your brain wants safety. They will always clash at the intersection of decision. That's where self-discipline is born. Discipline isn't punishment, it's the act of mastering the resistance within you. It's choosing your vision over your emotions. It's saying, I don't care how I feel right now, I care about who I'm becoming. Every time you push through that resistance, you rewire your mind to believe in your own strength. You teach yourself that you're capable of more than comfort. Here's the hard truth. Resistance never disappears. You just get stronger than it. You learn to recognize it, to respect it, to move through it faster. Every successful person you admire still feels fear, doubt, and uncertainty. They've just built a habit of moving anyway. They've trained themselves to act in spite of emotion, not because of it. So when resistance hits, when you feel that hesitation rising, remember, it's not a wall, it's a threshold. It's the signal that you're stepping into something bigger than your old self. Feel it, face it, move through it, because beyond resistance lies the birth of momentum, and momentum changes everything. Momentum, it's the invisible force that turns small decisions into unstoppable power. You don't get it by waiting, you don't get it by overthinking. You create momentum by taking that first uncomfortable step, then another and another, until action becomes your new identity. That's the secret. Momentum doesn't come from motivation. It creates motivation. Most people get it backwards. They wait to feel ready before they act. They think energy comes before movement, but the truth is, movement creates energy. When you start doing the thing you've been avoiding, making the call, starting the workout, facing the truth, you ignite something inside you that no pep talk can replace. You awaken drive, and that drive, once sparked, is almost impossible to stop. Momentum is what separates those who wish from those who win, because the first step is always the hardest. It's where fear screams the loudest. But once you take it, you prove to yourself that fear was never in control. You take back power, and that proof, that evidence of your own strength, becomes the fuel that drives your next step. Before long, motion becomes your natural state. But here's what you must remember. Momentum is fragile in the beginning. It's like a spark in the wind, powerful but delicate. You've got to protect it. You've got to feed it with consistency. That means doing the work even when the excitement fades. It means acting when your mind says rest, when no one's watching, when it doesn't yet feel like it's paying off. Because those moments, those quiet, unseen efforts, that's where real momentum is built. The truth is, once momentum catches fire, it doesn't just change your results, it changes your identity. You start to see yourself differently. You no longer try to be disciplined, you are disciplined. You don't wait for confidence, you live in confidence. That's the power of compounding action. It transforms who you believe yourself to be. So build the spark, feed it daily, refuse to stop, even when it feels small, even when no one claps. Because momentum, once it's alive, will carry you through storms that would have once broken you. And when momentum meets clarity, that's when direction becomes destiny. You can have all the energy, all the drive, all the momentum in the world, but if you don't know where you're going, you'll still end up lost. That's why clarity is power, not motivation, not talent, not luck. Clarity, because clarity gives direction to your energy. It's the difference between running fast and actually moving forward. Most people are exhausted not because they're doing too much, but because they're doing too much of what doesn't matter. They wake up busy, not effective. They chase 10 different goals, each pulling in a different direction, and then wonder why they feel stuck. It's not because they're lazy, it's because they're unclear. Clarity simplifies life. It cuts through noise, through distraction, through chaos. It allows you to focus on what truly moves the needle. Clarity doesn't come from thinking about your life, it comes from deciding what you want your life to stand for. It's not about perfect plans, it's about powerful purpose. When you know your why, the how becomes easier. You stop chasing everything and start choosing deliberately, and choice-conscious, consistent choice is what gives life power. Here's the truth. Indecision is the enemy of momentum. Unclear goals breed hesitation. You can't hit a target you can't see. But once you define it, even imperfectly, the universe begins to align around that direction. You start noticing opportunities you used to miss. You attract people, ideas, and energy that match your focus. That's not magic, that's psychology. Whatever you consistently focus on, you start to create. Clarity also demands courage because being clear means being honest. Honest about what you want, honest about what's not working, honest about what you've been tolerating. That honesty can sting, but it's the kind of pain that purifies. It cuts away the unnecessary so you can finally see the truth beneath the noise. When you gain clarity, you move differently, you speak differently, you think and act with intention, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. And in that design, you find freedom because nothing is more powerful than a human being who knows exactly what they're after and refuses to settle for less. And once you have clarity, the next question becomes, will you commit to it, no matter the cost? Clarity without commitment is just daydreaming. You can know what you want, you can visualize it, write it down, talk about it every day, but until you commit, until you own it, nothing changes. Commitment is the bridge between desire and destiny. It's the moment you burn the boats and say, I'm not going back. That's the price of transformation, total commitment. People love to talk about wanting success, but few are ready to pay what it costs. Everyone wants the reward, but not the responsibility. They want freedom, but not the discipline that creates it. The truth is, every dream demands a sacrifice. You'll have to give up something: comfort, approval, control, excuses. You can't stay the same and have more. You can't keep your limitations and claim your greatness at the same time. Commitment means you do it even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. It's easy to be dedicated when you're excited. It's easy to take action when things are flowing. But real commitment shows up on the days you want to quit. The days when doubt creeps in, when results are invisible, when your mind starts whispering, maybe this isn't for me. That's the moment that separates those who dabble from those who dominate. When you commit fully, something shifts inside you. The universe starts to respond differently. Opportunities appear because you finally look for them. People start respecting you because you finally respect your own word. Commitment changes your identity. You stop being someone who tries and become someone who does. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop asking if it's possible and start finding how to make it happen. But let's be clear, commitment isn't about perfection. It's about consistency. You will fall, you will doubt, you will fail. But the person who's committed gets back up every single time. That's what builds strength. That's what builds faith. Because the longer you stay in the game, the stronger you become. The price of commitment isn't comfort, it's certainty. It's knowing deep down that no matter what happens, you won't stop until it's done. And once you commit, life starts testing you to see if you really meant it. The moment you commit, life will test you. It always does, not because it wants to punish you, but because it wants to prepare you. Every storm, every setback, every closed door, it's not rejection, it's refinement. Life doesn't give you what you ask for, it gives you what you're willing to fight for. The tests come disguised as delays, failures, or disappointments. You make a decision, you commit, and suddenly everything seems to go wrong. That's the breaking point for most people. They mistake resistance for rejection. But here's the truth: that's not life saying no. That's life saying, show me you're serious. When you're tested, it's not your strength being challenged, it's your faith. Do you still believe in your vision when the evidence disappears? Do you still show up when no one's clapping, when no one notices, when no one believes in you yet? That's where champions are born, not in comfort, but in chaos, not in applause, but in silence. The tests reveal your commitment level. They strip away your pretenses, your ego, your excuses. They expose whether your dream was just a wish or a calling, and if it's truly a calling, you'll endure, because pain becomes purpose when you decide to use it. Every challenge carries a message: adapt, grow, evolve. That's how life trains you to handle what you've asked for. Most people pray for strength but avoid struggle. They want progress without pressure, confidence without risk. But there's no muscle without resistance. Every test builds the capacity to receive more, to handle more, to be more. When you stop seeing challenges as punishment and start seeing them as preparation, everything changes. The truth is, the test is never about the obstacle, it's about the response. You can break down or break through. You can complain or create. You can shrink or stand taller. The difference lies in perspective. When you decide that nothing is happening to you, only for you, every test becomes a teacher. So when life hits you, don't flinch. Smile and say, I was built for this. Because the test isn't here to stop you, it's here to shape you into someone who can handle what's next. And what comes next is the rise the moment you turn pain into power. Pain is the great equalizer. It doesn't care about your background, your talent, or your dreams. It visits everyone. But what separates the ones who rise from the ones who crumble is what they do with that pain. You can let it break you, or you can make it your fuel. The greatest shift of your life happens when you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start declaring, this is happening for me. You see, pain isn't your enemy. It's your signal, it's feedback, it's life trying to get your attention, trying to pull you away from comfort and push you toward growth. Every time you've been hurt, betrayed, disappointed, or rejected, it was life chiseling away the parts of you that couldn't carry your next level. It wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Most people run from pain. They numb it with distraction, bury it under busyness, or deny it through false positivity. But what you resist persists. The pain you avoid becomes the cage you live in. The only way out is through. The moment you face it, feel it, and learn from it, that's when it loses its power over you. Because pain, when faced with courage, transforms into strength. Think about it. Every breakthrough in your life was preceded by discomfort. Growth never feels good in the moment. It's messy, it's hard, it demands honesty. But once you understand its purpose, you stop running and start rising. You begin to use your pain like a compass. It points directly to where you need to heal, to grow, to take back control. And here's the truth. The people with the most power are often the ones who have endured the most pain, but they decided to give it meaning. They turned their wounds into wisdom, their scars into stories, their heartbreak into hunger. They stopped identifying with the pain and started building from it. So don't curse your struggles, don't hide your scars. They're not signs of weakness, they're proof that you were willing to face what others run from. Pain is not the end of your story, it's the beginning of your transformation. Because when you master your pain, you unlock your power, and power changes everything. Power isn't a feeling, it's not a moment of inspiration. Real power is discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Motivation is temporary, discipline is eternal. It's the muscle that carries you when emotion fades, when excitement dies, when life stops cheering you on. That's when discipline steps in quiet, consistent, unshakable. The truth is, the world doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. You can have all the knowledge, all the vision, all the intention, but if you don't follow through, it means nothing. Discipline is what turns goals into reality. It's what bridges the gap between I should and I did. It's not glamorous. It's not loud. It's built in the dark, one choice at a time. Discipline is saying no when your old habits whisper yes. It's waking up when your mind screams for rest. It's pushing through that last rep, that last call, that last hour when no one's watching. Because success isn't built in the spotlight, it's built in silence. It's the accumulation of small, uncelebrated victories that compound into greatness. You see, discipline is freedom. Most people think it's the opposite. They think discipline limits them, but the truth is, it liberates you. When you master yourself, you no longer live at the mercy of your moods. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You don't need motivation because your habits carry you. That's real power, to be in control of your mind, your emotions, your actions. The challenge is, discipline feels uncomfortable at first. It goes against your instincts. Your brain craves ease. But every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're training your mind to serve you, not sabotage you. And over time, what once felt like a burden becomes your identity. You don't force discipline anymore, you are disciplined. And that's when life starts responding differently. You attract respect. You build trust with yourself. You stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. Because the world can't deny someone who shows up every single day, regardless of circumstances. So remember, motivation will get you started, but discipline will finish the job. And when discipline meets purpose, you become unstoppable because now your habits are aligned with your destiny. Discipline without purpose eventually burns out. You can grind endlessly, you can wake up early, work harder, push longer, but if you're not aligned with something meaningful, it starts to feel hollow. Purpose is the fire that gives direction to your effort. It's the why behind the work. Without it, discipline becomes duty. With it, discipline becomes devotion. Purpose is not something you find, it's something you create. It's born out of service, out of struggle, out of the moments that tested you. It grows from your pain and matures through your contribution. The truth is, your deepest purpose often hides inside your deepest wounds. The things that once broke you, those experiences carved the empathy, the insight, the strength that someone else desperately needs. That's where your purpose lies. Most people chase achievement without alignment. They collect goals like trophies, hoping each one will fill the emptiness, but fulfillment doesn't come from more, it comes from meaning. When you align what you do with who you are, you stop chasing and start creating. You stop surviving and start serving. You move from success to significance, and purpose is magnetic. When you live from it, you attract people and opportunities that resonate with that same energy. You stop forcing progress, it starts to flow. You feel connected, grounded, certain, because alignment brings peace in the midst of pressure. You can work hard and still feel whole. You can face challenges and still feel alive. But alignment requires honesty. You have to ask yourself, am I living by my values or by someone else's expectations? Am I climbing a ladder that leads to fulfillment or one that leads to regret? Purpose demands courage, the courage to walk your own path, even when others don't understand it. When you live in alignment, your work stops being about validation. It becomes an expression of who you are. Every action, every decision, every sacrifice starts to serve something bigger than yourself. That's where true fulfillment begins, not in what you get, but in who you become while giving. Because when purpose and discipline unite, you stop chasing power, you embody it. And once you're aligned, the next challenge begins, mastering your focus in a world built to break it. In today's world, focus is the new superpower. The rarest, most valuable resource you have isn't time, it's attention. Time you can measure. Focus determines how you use it. You can have 24 hours like everyone else, but what you focus on will decide whether you rise or repeat. Everywhere you look, something is fighting for your attention: notifications, opinions, noise, endless scrolling. The world is designed to distract you, to keep you reactive, to keep you busy but not productive. And here's the danger: what you consistently focus on, you feed. You feed your fears, your doubts, or your dreams, whichever gets your attention most. Focus isn't just about blocking distractions, it's about deciding what truly matters. You can't master your destiny if you can't master your mind. Focus is the discipline of presence, the ability to give your full energy to the moment you're in. When your focus is scattered, your power is diluted. But when it's directed, you become unstoppable. Most people never lose their potential, they just lose their focus. They start something with fire, then let distraction steal their momentum. One setback, one opinion, one scroll, and they are off track again. But here's the truth, nothing changes until you decide what deserves your energy and what doesn't. Every yes to distraction is a no to your destiny. You have to train your focus like a muscle. That means eliminating the noise. Setting boundaries, saying no often, protecting your mornings, owning your environment, because clarity without control means chaos. You can't expect a focused life if you live in constant reaction. When you focus deeply, the world slows down. You start noticing things others miss. You start seeing patterns, solutions, insights. Focus sharpens your awareness, and awareness creates power. Suddenly, you're not reacting to life, you're designing it. You're no longer pulled by every distraction, you're pulled by purpose. Remember, energy flows where attention goes. Feed your growth, not your gossip. Feed your mission, not your mood. The more focused you become, the faster your life transforms. Because in the end, it's not the most talented who win, it's the most focused. And when focus meets faith, that's when persistence is born, and persistence builds empires. Persistence, that's the difference between people who dream and people who live their dreams. It's the quiet fire that keeps burning long after the excitement fades. It's what makes ordinary people do extraordinary things, because the truth is, talent can open a door, but only persistence keeps it open. Most people quit too soon. They start strong, full of motivation, and then the first obstacle appears and they back down. They take failure personally as if it means they're not enough, but failure isn't final. It's feedback. Every great success story is written in the ink of persistence. Edison failed thousands of times. Jobs was fired from his own company. Oprah was told she wasn't fit for television. The difference wasn't luck, it was endurance. Persistence means you keep showing up, not because it's easy, but because you've decided quitting is no longer an option. You fall, you rise, you adjust, you grow. You turn rejection into redirection. You use disappointment as data. Every no becomes fuel. Every setback becomes a stepping stone. That's how persistence turns pain into progress. But let's be honest, persistence is lonely. It's not glamorous. There are no crowds cheering when you're grinding in silence, no applause when you push through another invisible wall. Those are the moments that test your conviction. Those are the moments that reveal whether you're chasing approval or chasing mastery. Because persistence isn't about being strong all the time, it's about staying committed even when you feel weak. When you persist long enough, something powerful happens, momentum turns into mastery. You stop guessing and start knowing. You stop forcing results and start flowing with certainty. Persistence rewires your mind to expect results because you've proven to yourself that you'll keep moving until you get them. The world belongs to the ones who refuse to give up, not because they're fearless, but because they've learned to keep walking through fear. They've learned that storms don't stop progress, stopping does. So keep going, even when you're tired, even when no one believes, even when the evidence says it's not working, because persistence always pays, just not always on your timeline. And when persistence meets patience, something powerful emerges: mastery. Mastery isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters better and deeper every single day. It's the art of refinement, the relentless pursuit of excellence. The willingness to do the boring work, the invisible work, the uncomfortable repetitions that no one celebrates but everyone benefits from later. That's the price of mastery, the patience to perfect what others rush through. Most people want quick results. They want success without repetition, growth without grind, but mastery laughs at shortcuts. It demands humility. It demands presence. It demands that you fall in love with the process, not just the prize. Because when you focus on perfection, you chase an illusion. But when you focus on mastery, you build a legacy. Mastery begins when you stop asking, "How long will this take?" and start asking, "How far can I go?" It's when you stop comparing your progress to others and start competing with who you were yesterday. That's when growth becomes exponential, because now your standard isn't external, it's internal. You're no longer driven by validation, you're driven by evolution. The truth is, mastery is not a destination, it's a decision to never stop learning, a decision to refine your craft long after others have stopped trying. It's waking up every day with the same hunger to improve, no matter how good you already are. Every master was once a beginner who refused to quit. Every champion is still a student at heart, but mastery also comes with solitude. It requires discipline that feels isolating. While others play, you practice. While others celebrate, you refine. That's not punishment, that's preparation. The world doesn't see the hours of unseen effort, the sacrifices, the failures, the obsession. But mastery doesn't need validation, the reward is in the growth itself. And one day you'll look back and realize the small steps, the dull routines, the countless corrections they built something unshakable inside you. You didn't just master a skill, you mastered yourself. That's the true victory. Because mastery isn't about control, it's about surrendering to the process until excellence becomes who you are. And when mastery meets meaning, your influence expands because now your life becomes a message. At some point, the pursuit of mastery transforms into something deeper. Your life itself becomes a message. Every action, every word, every choice starts to communicate who you are and what you stand for. You stop chasing success and start embodying significance, because the truth is, people don't remember what you say, they remember how you live. When your life becomes a message, you stop living for applause. You start living for impact. You realize that your story, the pain, the breakthroughs, the lessons isn't just for you. It's for someone else who's still in the dark, searching for a sign that it's possible. Your scars become proof that healing is real. Your struggles become someone else's survival guide. You don't need to be perfect to inspire people. You just need to be real. Authenticity is louder than perfection. The world is starving for realness, for people who walk their talk, who lead by example, who show up with integrity even when it's hard. Because integrity isn't about being flawless, it's about being consistent. It's about doing what's right, not what's easy. Your life is always speaking. The question is, what is it saying? Is it saying, I settled for comfort? Or is it saying, I rose above fear? Is it saying, I played small? Or is it saying, I gave everything I had? You decide the tone of your story through your daily decisions. Every choice is a sentence in the message your life is writing. And here's the truth: legacy isn't built when you die. It's built in how you live now. It's built every time you help, every time you forgive, every time you lead with love instead of ego. When you live with purpose and alignment, your life naturally becomes a light for others. You don't have to preach it, you live it. So let your life be the loudest message you ever deliver. Let it speak of courage, resilience, faith, and growth. Let it prove that transformation is possible, that no one is stuck, that the power of a single decision can change everything. Because when your life becomes a message, your existence becomes your greatest contribution. And now we come full circle back to where it all began, the power of a single decision. Everything you've heard, everything you've learned, every breakthrough you've imagined, it all comes down to this moment, because life changes in an instant, in that one sacred second when you finally decide. Not hope, not wish, not someday. Decide that you will no longer tolerate the version of yourself that plays small. Decide that fear will no longer sit at the head of your table. Decide that comfort will no longer be your God. Decide that from this moment forward, you will live with intention, with courage, with fire. That's it. One decision. That's how revolutions start, not outside, but inside. People think transformation takes years. It doesn't. It takes a heartbeat of absolute clarity. It takes a moment of truth where you stop lying to yourself, stop hiding behind excuses, stop waiting for permission. That's when the axis of your life shifts forever. And here's the beautiful part: you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide that you will never again go back to the version of you that settled. The details, the steps, the strategy, they come after. Life doesn't reward the most talented. It rewards the most committed. Your future is not built in the future. It's built right now in the decisions you make when no one's watching, the decision to get up one more time, the decision to speak your truth, the decision to act even when you're afraid. That's the moment your destiny is rewritten, and when you decide, truly decide, the universe rearranges itself around your commitment. Doors open, strength appears, people align, momentum ignites, because life honors courage, it always has. So here's your invitation: stop waiting for a sign, be the sign, choose growth over fear, choose action over hesitation, choose life over existence. This is your time, your turning point, your new beginning, because in the end, everything, your destiny, your power, your freedom begins with one thing: a decision. And that decision, once made with total certainty, will forever separate the person you were from the person you are meant to become.